Listen closely. Imagine this. You are standing at the edge of an ocean at dawn. The sky has not quite decided whether it wants to be night or morning. The water glows, though the sun is still hidden. And for a moment, only a moment, you can't tell where the sea ends and where the sky begins. This, Alan Watts would say, is the perfect metaphor for you. A creature forever trying to separate things that were never divided in the first place. Life and death, self and other, control and surrender, the listener and the universe. All of them, one ocean, one sky, playing pretend. And so, before we journey any further tonight, I want to ask you something Alan Watts often implied. What if the boundaries you cling to are illusions? And what if letting go of them is the beginning of wisdom? Take a breath. Not a forced breath, not a deep breath. Just the kind you naturally take when you stop trying to manage your own breathing. That breath is where our story begins. The paradox of being alive. Watts loved paradoxes, not because they were clever, but because he saw them as cracks, little openings in the prison of ordinary thinking. Here is one of his favorites. You are both the dancer and the dance. We believe we have a life, as if life is something we carry around in a bag. But Watts would smile that mischievous, knowing smile and say, "You don't have a life. You are life. You are a process, a happening, a wave rising and falling as the whole ocean expresses itself." The trouble begins when a wave forgets it is the ocean. When a human forgets, they are not a separate self locked inside a skull, but an expression of the entire universe looking out through two eyes. This belief in separateness, the ego, is the central illusion in almost all of Watson's teachings, and he dismantles it not with force, but with a gentle invitation. Look closer, he'd say. When you look for this self you defend every day, where is it? Your thoughts? They come and go. Your emotions? They rise and fall. Your memories? A collage constantly edited. Your body? Changing every moment. Nothing stays. Everything flows. So who is this I you keep fighting for? Watts' answer is simple, poetic, and astonishing. The one who is aware of the flow is also part of the flow. There is no watcher separate from the watching, no thinker separate from the thoughts. Just experience, experiencing itself. Like a flame burning without a solid center, you exist, but not in the way you imagine. The philosophy of letting go, or how to stop chasing life. If the self is a fluid event rather than a fixed identity, then trying to control everything becomes a strange, exhausting performance. Watts said we cling to life the way a child clings to a toy, afraid it will disappear the moment we loosen our grip. But here is the cosmic joke. Everything we cling to is already slipping through our fingers. Time, people, certainty, plans, even our own bodies. Life is movement, and movement means change. So, when we insist on freezing the world in place, we create tension, anxiety, and fear. Watts would describe this beautifully through the metaphor of swimming. If you try too hard to float, you sink. If you relax, the water holds you. Life works exactly the same way. Your fear tightens the muscles of your mind. Your control strangles the natural rhythm of existence. Your self-consciousness turns every step into a stumbling. But when you soften, when you stop fighting, you discover something miraculous. Life knows how to live itself better than you know how to live it. And the more you trust this, the more fluid your existence becomes. You love more easily. You create more freely. You move more naturally. Life becomes not a battle to win, but a dance to join. The cosmic game of hide and seek. Watts often compared the universe to a child playing an elaborate game of hide and seek. Imagine, he'd say, that everything in existence is one vast, infinite consciousness. And imagine that consciousness growing bored of being infinite, complete, all-knowing. What does an all-knowing mind crave? Surprise. So it divides itself into billions of forms, people, animals, planets, stars, each one forgetting what it really is. Why forget? because the game only works if you believe you're truly hiding. You become you, a single, fragile human with a name, a story, a beating heart. You forget the cosmic essence behind your eyes so that discovery, reunion, awakening can happen. And when you die, you wake back up. You remember the punchline. It was you all along. You were the seeker and the sought, the mask and the face beneath it. Life, in this sense, is not a problem to solve, but a game to experience. Watts never said this to trivialize suffering, but to illuminate something profound. When you see life as a game, you play more lightly. You suffer less personally. You enjoy your existence the way a child enjoys a sunny afternoon, with curiosity instead of fear. What is the ego really protecting? Let's return to the ego. Watts never demonized it. He simply wanted you to understand its limits. The ego is not evil. It's a useful tool, the way a knife is useful, but you don't want to sleep with it clutched to your chest. Just look at what the ego does. It draws lines. It says me and not me. It builds a little house of identity, my beliefs, my desires, my opinions, and then it guards that house as if a single gust of wind will blow it away. Ironically, the ego is terrified of dissolution because it knows it is fragile. It has to constantly be bothered, constantly be right, constantly be offended, constantly prove itself. But the moment you see the ego for what it is, a temporary social role, a costume, you no longer have to take it so seriously. You can loosen the armor. You can stop defending your existence. You can breathe. Because once you discover that your true nature is as spacious as the open sky, you no longer fear the passing clouds. The illusion of control. Now, let's talk about control. If there is one idea Watts returned to again and again, it is this. We believe we are steering the ship, when in reality, we are part of the ocean. We plan, we predict, we worry, we manipulate, we strategize. We tell ourselves that life must be controlled, like a machine. But life is not a machine. Life is a living, breathing organism. And organisms do not obey. They grow, they unfold, they surprise, they transform. Rather than trying to manage every moment, Watts invites us to shift our relationship with reality, from controller to participant, from commander to collaborator, from fearful planner to engaged observer. This doesn't mean apathy. It means alignment. It means moving with life instead of pushing against it. It means understanding that uncertainty is not an error, but the essence of existence. Because without unpredictability, your life would be a scripted performance. No spontaneity, no discovery, no true joy. You cannot love a life that you also try to cage. So Watts asks, what would happen if you loosened your grip and trusted the unfolding? Just trusted that the river knows where it's going. Time, the eternal present. Perhaps the most beautiful aspect of Alan Watts' philosophy is his insistence that time is not what we think it is. We live our days chasing the future, haunted by the past, rarely landing in the only place we can ever truly be, this moment. Watts would say that the future is a concept, a useful one, but a concept nonetheless. You cannot live in a future thought. You cannot breathe tomorrow's air. You cannot laugh a year from now. Life is always and only happening now. Yet we treat the present as a means to an end. We work now to rest later. We rush now to arrive later. We endure now to enjoy later. But when later comes, we repeat the cycle. We postpone living until we forget how. Watts invites us to break the pattern, to recognize that the present is not a stepping stone, but home. When you fully inhabit this moment, not as a task, but as an experience, everything becomes richer. Colors sharpen, sounds deepen, breath softens. Life feels less like a race and more like a symphony. And you realize, with a quiet, breathtaking clarity, that the meaning of life is not hidden in the future. It is here, always here, only here. If you sit very quietly, so quietly that even your own thoughts begin to sound like distant footsteps, you may notice something subtle, something almost hidden. Beneath every worry, every ambition, every plan, there is a hum, a vibration, a trembling sense that you must do something to hold your life together. Fear, not always loud, sometimes just a whisper in the bloodstream, a tightening in the chest, a faint sense that something, you don't know what, is slipping away. And Alan Watts, with that characteristic twinkle in his voice, would say, "Fear is the result of trying to outsmart life." Because fear thrives wherever we believe that we are separate from the world, like a lone creature trying to survive in a universe that does not care. But here's the paradox he loved so deeply. The moment you stop trying to control life, life stops frightening you. Fear doesn't vanish because the world becomes safer. Fear vanishes because you stop fighting the flow. It's like trying to hold your breath underwater. The panic builds, the pressure rises, until you surrender and float naturally. This is the essence of Watts' teaching on fear. You cannot scare yourself once you stop pretending to be a separate self. You only fear losing control when you believe you had control to begin with. The ego's desperate hunger. After fear comes desire. Not quiet desire, not the simple longing to feel the sun on your skin or hear a favorite melody again, but the endless craving to become more than what you already are. The ego is always hungry, always waiting, always convinced that fulfillment lies somewhere ahead of you, a little further down the road. It says, when I achieve this, when I solve that, when I finally become who I want to be, then I'll be complete. But there is no finish line. The ego, Watts reminds us, is like a donkey chasing a carrot tied to its own stick. You run after the promise of satisfaction, wealth, admiration, mastery, long life, approval, and the moment you catch one, another appears. Just a little more, the ego whispers, and the chase continues. But this is not because the universe is cruel. It is because desire, by nature, is unfinished, open-ended, endlessly unfolding. The purpose of desire is not to satisfy you, but to move you, like a wave being pushed by the wind. So Watts tells us, do not try to kill desire, do not conquer the ego, do not make war on yourself. Instead, see the ego's hunger for what it is, the universe playing at being incomplete, a creative tension, a cosmic performance, a way for life to keep becoming. And once you see this, you can desire without desperation and want without clinging. Just as a musician plays a note, knowing it will fade. The myth of separation and the return home. One of the most beautiful ideas Watts ever taught is that separation is a story, a useful story, but a story nonetheless. You are not a lone fragment thrown into a meaningless cosmos. You are not a stranger in a foreign world. You are not an accident looking for purpose. You are nature. You are process. You are expression. Watts would say, just as an apple tree apples, the universe peoples. You do not come into the world, you come out of it, like a wave emerging from the sea. And this means, in the deepest, most intimate sense, you belong right now, without conditions, without improvement, without justification. If you sit with that truth, really sit with it, you may feel something loosening inside you, a knot you didn't even know you carried. Because belonging dissolves loneliness, and loneliness dissolves fear, and fear dissolves the illusion that you are a self struggling against the world. You are the world, experiencing itself from one particular vantage point. The dance of duality and why opposites need each other. Life can feel like a battle between what we want and what we reject. Joy versus sorrow, success versus failure, peace versus chaos, safety versus uncertainty. We cling to one side and resist the other, never realizing they are two halves of one movement. Watts emphasized again and again that opposites are not enemies. They are partners. Like the front and back of a coin, you cannot remove one without destroying both. There is no thrill of being alive without the risk of loss. There is no beauty in joy without the shadow of sorrow. There is no meaning in rising without the possibility of falling. The universe moves through contrast, and contrast is what makes the dance worth watching. To reject one side is to reject the totality of life. Watts would tell us, you can't always know what is good news and what is bad news. A loss becomes a beginning, a failure becomes a lesson, a heartbreak becomes an opening, a detour becomes the real path. Life is not linear, it's rhythmic, cyclical, like waves breaking on a shore. Up and down, forward and back, birth and death, in and out. Every movement requires its opposite, and peace arises not from getting rid of the dark, but from understanding that light and dark are part of one living tapestry. The freedom of being nobody. One of Watts' most comforting ideas is the liberation that comes from dropping the heavy burden of being someone. You wake up each morning already wearing a costume, the personality you've crafted over years, your name, your history, your preferences, your beliefs, your story. And you defend that costume as if your very existence depends on it. But what happens if, for a moment, you let it fall away? What happens if you allow yourself to be nobody? Not a failure, not a success, not a father, daughter, lover, or dreamer, not a person with a reputation to maintain or a role to perform, just consciousness, breath, a ripple of awareness moving through the present moment. Watts would say that this is the greatest freedom. To realize your true nature is not the character you play, but the awareness watching the story unfold. This doesn't make the story meaningless. On the contrary, it makes it beautiful. Because once you stop clinging to the self, your life becomes art, a play, a dance. You participate fully without the fear of losing your identity. You become free to change, to flow, to be spontaneous, like water finding its natural path. The world is play, not work. There is a word in Sanskrit that Watts adored, Leela, the cosmic play. The universe is not a machine grinding through predetermined gears. It is not an exam testing your worth. It is not a prison you must escape. It is a play, a dance, a drama, and you are not an employee, but a performer. When a child plays, they do not ask, what is the purpose? They simply play, because playing is the point. In the same way, the universe expresses itself just to express itself. Galaxies spin not because they must, but because they can. Trees reach upward, not out of duty, but out of joy. And you, in every laugh, every tear, every mistake, every triumph, are part of this great cosmic improvisation. Watts urges us, stop treating life as something to be solved, and start treating it as something to be lived. Not a problem, but a performance. Not a test, but a dance. Not a duty, but a cosmic game. And when you see the world this way, the heaviness lifts, the seriousness softens, the anxiety dissolves. You begin to feel the effortless rhythm beneath everything, the spontaneity of the universe, and the beauty of not knowing. Watts loved uncertainty, not as a threat, but as wonder. He said the universe is fundamentally spontaneous, a ceaseless, creative unfolding without a script. And this spontaneity is what makes life alive. Imagine a world where everything was predictable, every moment planned, every path known, every ending guaranteed. There would be no curiosity, no excitement, no awe, no reason to get out of bed. Life's beauty comes from its unpredictability. Watts encourages us to fall in love with not knowing, to embrace surprise, to welcome mystery, to let the future unfold the way a flower opens, petal by petal, in its own time. Because uncertainty is the doorway to growth, creation, and transformation. The unknown is not a void to be feared. It is the space where magic lives. And once you understand that, you stop asking life to give you guarantees. You simply open your hands and let the adventure happen. The mirror of relationships, the illusion of control, and the art of being present. Consider the people in your life. Every friend, every stranger, every lover, every rival. Each one feels like a separate being, a distinct world orbiting beside your own. But if you look closely, not with your eyes, but with the attention that listens from deep within, you'll notice something astonishing. Every relationship is a mirror. Not a mirror that reflects your appearance, but one that reflects your consciousness. Alan Watts often explained that you can only recognize in others what already exists in you. Their kindness lights up your own. Their anger echoes something familiar. Their flaws poke the places you haven't fully seen in yourself. Their beauty awakens something sleeping inside you. Watts would say, "We do not meet the world, we meet ourselves at every moment." This is not poetic exaggeration. It is a profound psychological and spiritual truth embedded in the very fabric of experience. Because the you who perceives others is shaped by the same consciousness that animates them. A wave cannot encounter another wave without feeling the ocean in between. Relationships as a cosmic dance. When two people meet, it is not just two biographies brushing against each other. It is the universe meeting itself from two different angles. Watts loved to describe relationships as a dance. Each person responds, shifts, moves, adapts, never fully leading, never fully following, always adjusting in real time to the subtle rhythms of connection. But problems arise when one person tries to control the dance. We impose expectations. They must behave like this, feel like that, understand us a certain way, fulfill roles we silently assign. The ego wants choreography, predictability, a guarantee that love will unfold exactly as we imagine. But real love, alive, spontaneous, breathing love, does not obey. It moves, it surprises, it grows in directions you never expected. So Watts suggests that relationships only flourish when they are allowed to remain living processes, not rigid structures. You don't force the river to flow the way you want. You move with it. You listen. You adapt. You respect the currents. When you stop treating people as extensions of your desires, you begin to see them as they are, expressions of the same cosmic energy that moves through you. And suddenly, connection becomes less about possession and more about appreciation, less about control and more about wonder. Why we can't control other people. There is a strange, repeated heartbreak hidden inside every human life. We keep expecting others to be predictable. We want them to match our script. We want them to react exactly as we prefer. We want them to understand us without us having to explain. But Watts reminds us that this expectation is absurd, beautifully absurd, because people are not objects, they are organisms, unfolding, evolving, fluid expressions of life, just like clouds, rivers, and stars. Trying to control a person is like trying to choreograph the wind. You might block a breeze for a moment, but you will never own it. And when you stop expecting control, something profound happens. You start to see people not as sources of frustration, but as unique windows through which the universe looks back at you, each consciousness reflecting a different possibility of what you also are. This realization dissolves resentment. It softens judgment. It makes room for curiosity. Instead of asking, "Why aren't they like me?" you find yourself asking, "What is life expressing through them?" And that shift changes everything. Fear of vulnerability and why it is an illusion. If relationships are mirrors, then vulnerability is their light. But vulnerability scares us. It feels like exposure, like stepping into a spotlight we didn't ask for. We protect ourselves with masks, with sarcasm, with detachment, with silence, with pretending not to care. Yet what Watts knew, and what so few dare to admit, is that vulnerability is not danger. Vulnerability is honesty. It is the moment when the mask falls, when the character breaks, when the ego loosens its grip and allows the universe to shine through the person. It is the recognition that nothing real can ever be lost. The vulnerable heart is the free heart, because it is no longer trying to survive the story of itself. It simply is alive, open, unafraid of dissolving, because it knows it was never separate to begin with. The art of listening and why it changes everything. Watts believed that one of the greatest gifts we can offer the world is true listening. Not listening to respond, not listening to analyze, not listening to prepare a counterargument, but listening as if the entire universe is speaking through the other person. He said that when you truly listen, you momentarily abandon the illusion of separateness. The boundary between self and other fades. You become the space into which the other speaks. Their words ripple through you like sound waves moving across a lake. No resistance, no judgment, no inner commentary, just awareness. And in that state, connection becomes effortless. Love becomes natural. Misunderstanding dissolves because there is no you clinging to an opinion while the other tries to be understood. There is only presence. Listening, Watts would say, is the purest form of compassion because it allows reality to reveal itself without interference. The world and you, a single process. Let's expand our view now. Not just people, not just relationships, but everything. Watts often explained that the universe is not made of separate parts, bouncing off each other like billiard balls. It is a single, continuous, interdependent process. He would say that you cannot separate the person from the environment, any more than you can separate a whirlpool from the river. A whirlpool looks distinct, unique shape, unique movement, but it is not a thing. It is a behavior of the water. In the same way, you are not an isolated being. You are a behavior of the universe, a pattern of energy, a movement of life, a phenomenon of consciousness. Everything you breathe comes from trees. Everything you know comes from others. Everything you are is embedded in a web of processes stretching across time and space. There is no you separate from the world, only the world expressing itself as you. And when you truly understand this, not just intellectually but experientially, a deep peace settles in, because the fight ends, the sense of loneliness dissolves, the exhaustion of trying to be a self-contained entity, evaporates. You realize you are supported by everything, held by everything, part of everything. The more you try to be yourself, the less you are. Here is one of the most paradoxical and liberating things Watts ever said. The harder you try to be yourself, the less you become yourself. Because your true self does not need effort. It does not need improvement. It does not need polishing. It does not need to be found. It simply needs to be allowed. When you stop performing, you become authentic. When you stop trying to be interesting, you become real. When you stop chasing a fixed identity, you become alive. You cannot discover yourself the way you discover a hidden treasure buried in the ground. You discover yourself in the same way a tree discovers sunlight, by unfolding naturally. No pressure, no forcing, no self-consciousness, just growth, happening by itself. You don't become the person you are meant to be by striving. You become that person by relaxing into what you already are, a wave rising effortlessly from the ocean of being. The magic of ordinary life. Watts had a gift for turning the ordinary into the miraculous. He could take something as simple as washing dishes, drinking tea, or watching the rain, and use it to reveal the mystical fabric of existence. He'd say, "This, right now, is the whole point. Not the future dream, not the next achievement, not the spiritual breakthrough you're hoping to reach someday. This moment, this breath, this sensation, this presence, everything you are seeking is already here. The extraordinary is simply the ordinary fully noticed. Life becomes luminous when you stop demanding that it be something else. The world becomes sacred when you stop waiting for a different one. And you become whole when you stop trying to become someone better and start allowing yourself to simply be." Part 4. The Wisdom of Emptiness, the Nature of Suffering, and the Art of Living Effortlessly. If you sit still long enough, you may notice something curious, that beneath all your thoughts, beneath your feelings, beneath your plans and your fears, beneath even the sense of I, there is a space, a silence, a quiet openness in which everything appears and disappears like clouds drifting across the sky. Alan Watts often called this the space of awareness, the background of consciousness that remains untouched no matter what thoughts pass through it. Thoughts come and go, emotions surge and fade, memories rise and dissolve. But the awareness watching all of this, the silent field in which it all happens, remains still. And here is the profound truth. This emptiness is not nothingness. It is freedom. It is the space that allows life to move. Like a blank page that makes writing possible. Like the silence between notes that makes music beautiful. Without emptiness, nothing could exist. The fear of emptiness and why it is misunderstood. Most people fear emptiness. They fear stillness. They fear silence. Because when everything else falls away, the roles, the distractions, the duties, the noise, you are left face to face with yourself. And the ego finds this terrifying. The ego thrives on activity. It needs problems to solve, stories to tell, conflicts to maintain, futures to chase. Stillness exposes how flimsy the ego really is. Watts would say, the ego is like a whirlpool that believes it must keep spinning or it will die. But what if the whirlpool stops? It doesn't die. It simply returns to being the river. The same is true of you. When you stop clinging to the story of yourself, you do not disappear. You simply return to being life itself. This is why emptiness is not a void to fear, but a homecoming, a return to the unbounded space from which all experience flows. The nature of suffering and why we create most of it ourselves. Watts had a striking way of describing suffering. He believed that pain is often inevitable, but suffering, the emotional struggle layered on top of pain, is largely optional. It is created by resisting what already is, by saying, "This shouldn't be happening. I don't want to feel this. This must not be real. This must not be me." Suffering comes from arguing with the moment. Watts once explained that life is like a river, sometimes smooth, sometimes violent, sometimes calm, sometimes wild, but it is always moving. And suffering begins the moment you try to grab the water with your hands. You cannot hold a river. You cannot freeze a moment. You cannot demand that the universe match your preferences. When you resist reality, you tense against life itself. This tension, the pushing, the tightening, the refusal, is suffering. Pain is a moment. Suffering is a story. Pain is a sensation. Suffering is resistance. Pain is life happening. Suffering is the ego saying, "I want something else." When you stop resisting, suffering dissolves because you return to the flow. Effortless living, or what Watts called Wu Wei. A central theme in Watts' philosophy is the ancient principle of Wu Wei. Effortless action, movement without forcing, doing without struggle. This is not laziness and not passivity. It is the art of alignment. Imagine a fish swimming upstream with frantic determination, and beside it, another fish glides effortlessly with the current. Which one reaches the open ocean faster? Which one wastes no energy, no motion, no breath? Effortless living is not about avoiding work. It's about discovering that life flows more naturally when you stop pushing against the current. Watts would say, "You don't dance by trying to move your body. You dance by letting the music move you." Effortless living is the same. You act, but you do not strain. You speak, but you do not force. You make choices, but you do not obsess over outcomes. You participate in life without trying to dominate it. In this state, creativity becomes spontaneous. Love becomes natural. Decisions become intuitive. Solutions appear without struggle. And the most surprising thing is, when you stop forcing life, life begins to support you. Doors open, people appear, ideas flow, moments align, not because you demanded them to, but because you stopped interfering. Why the universe plays through you, not around you. One of Watts' most radical ideas is that the universe is not something out there acting upon you. You are not a victim of cosmic forces. You are an expression of cosmic forces. The universe acts through you, thinks through you, feels through you, creates through you. Just as waves express the ocean, you express the cosmos in human form. Your desires are not separate from the universe. They are how the universe pulls itself forward. Your curiosity is how the universe explores itself. Your heartbreak is how the universe celebrates itself. You are not a passive observer. You are a participant in the unfolding. This is why, when people say, "I feel disconnected," Watts would gently remind them, you cannot be disconnected from what you are made of. You are the universe seeing through human eyes. And the moment you realize this, loneliness begins to fade. Meaninglessness dissolves. Fear melts. Because you recognize that everything happening in your life is part of a larger choreography, a movement of the cosmos expressing itself as you. The futility of trying to escape the present. Humans spend astonishing amounts of energy trying to escape the moment they are in. We escape into our phones, our plans, our fantasies, our regrets. We escape into work and call it ambition. We escape into entertainment and call it relaxation. We escape into anxiety and call it preparing for the future. But every escape has the same destination, anywhere but here. Watts would laugh gently at this, not mockingly, but with deep compassion, because he understood the great cosmic irony. You cannot escape the present because the present is all there is. The moment you try to avoid is the only moment available, and the future you chase only ever arrives as the present. There is no other time to live. So he invites us to stop running, to stop hiding, to stop trying to be elsewhere, to stop boldly into the vivid aliveness of the moment that is already happening. The air on your skin, the tension in your shoulders, the sound in the room, the breath moving through you. This, right now, is not a stepping stone to something better. It is life itself. How to let the moment become enough. Watts often said that most people do not truly live, they prepare to live. They prepare for happiness, prepare for success, prepare for peace, never realizing that preparation is the opposite of presence. To be alive is to step fully into what is happening, not to wait for the right mood, the right conditions, the right moment, because the moment is always right. The moment is always whole. Life does not require your improvement, only your attention. And when you give it your attention, your real, quiet, honest attention, even the simplest things become profound. A sip of water, the warm glow of a lamp, the distant hum of traffic, the rise and fall of your breath. Ordinary things become extraordinary when you stop demanding they be different. The moment becomes enough when you stop insisting it be more. And when the moment is enough, you become enough too, because nothing separates you from the completeness of life. Not your past, not your mistakes, not your uncertainty, not your fears. You are whole by simply being here. Part 5. The Dream of Life, the Illusion of Meaning, and the Deepest Freedom a Human Can Know. Close your eyes for a moment, not to escape the world, but to feel it more clearly. Behind your eyelids, you are not a person with a past, or a list of responsibilities, or a string of unfinished plans. You are simply awareness, a quiet, observing presence, floating, open, untethered. And it's here, in this simple state, that one of Alan Watts' most beautiful insights begins. Life is a dream, but not a dream to wake up from, a dream to wake up within. Watts didn't mean this metaphorically. He meant it quite literally. He said that the dream state and the waking state are not opposites, but different expressions of the same underlying consciousness. When you dream at night, your mind creates a world so vivid, with landscapes, feelings, characters, that you rarely question it. And upon waking, you say, that was just a dream. But the waking world is equally constructed, a narrative woven from sensations, memories, expectations, and interpretations. Life, therefore, is a shared dream, a collective imagination woven by billions of minds interacting with the same mysterious fabric. The meaning is not fixed. The story is not predetermined. The script is not handed to you. You participate in its creation every moment. The world as a shared hallucination. Watts often described the world as a hallucination we all agree on, not to suggest it is unreal, but that it is not as solid, as rigid, as objectively given as we assume. Consider this: the colors you see do not exist in the world. They exist in your mind as reactions to wavelengths of light. The sounds you hear do not float in the air. They are vibrations interpreted by consciousness. Even the sense of self is a mental creation, an ongoing story your brain tells itself to maintain continuity. So when Watts says life is a dream, he is pointing to a liberating truth. Reality is flexible, more flexible than you think. And the moment you understand this, a massive weight falls from your shoulders. Because if life is a dream, then you are not trapped in it. You are participating in it, co-creating it, shaping it, influencing it with every breath, movement, and intention. You are not the prisoner of the world. You are the dreamer dreaming it. The search for meaning and why it never works. Humans spend an astonishing amount of time searching for meaning. We look for it in success, in relationships, in religion, in philosophy, in status, in achievement. We long for a cosmic answer. Why are we here? What is the purpose? What does my existence mean? Watts approached this question with a clarity that can be unsettling at first, but deeply freeing once understood. He said, "Life does not come with a meaning, because life is the meaning." The universe did not create you with a mission statement. It did not send you here to complete a task or follow a script. You are here for the same reason trees grow, oceans move, and stars shine. Because the universe is expressing itself. Because existence is what existence does. Meaning, therefore, is not something to discover. It is something you feel when you are fully alive. A sunset has no purpose, yet it moves you. A melody has no goal, yet it enters your soul. A flower blooms not to impress, not to achieve, but simply because blooming is its nature. And your life, your breath, your laughter, your questions, your heartbreaks is the same. You are not here to accomplish meaning. You are here to experience it. The paradox of purpose. If meaning is experiential, not conceptual, then the question becomes, how should one live? Watts answers with a paradox as elegant as it is transforming. The purpose of life is to live fully without a purpose. This does not promote apathy, it promotes presence. It means do what makes you feel alive, not because it leads somewhere, but because aliveness is the destination. Follow your curiosity, not as a tool for success, but as a form of listening to what the universe wants to express through you. Create, love, explore, wonder, not to achieve meaning, but because these things are meaning. The universe is playing, and you are part of the play. The freedom of not taking yourself too seriously. If life is a dream and meaning is experiential, then the next realization is liberating. You don't have to take yourself so seriously. Watts had an infectious way of laughing at himself, laughing at the human condition, laughing at the seriousness with which we approach existence. He believed that much of human suffering comes from the illusion that we are central characters in a cosmic drama. But in the cosmic sense, the truly cosmic sense, our importance is both infinite and insignificant. This is not depressing. It is freeing, because it means you are allowed to relax. You are allowed to be imperfect. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to make mistakes. You are allowed to be human. Watts would say, you are a function of the universe, not its manager. Stop trying to supervise existence. Stop trying to micromanage your destiny. Stop trying to hold everything together. The universe has been flowing for billions of years without your control. It will continue flowing whether you relax or not, so you might as well relax. The dance of chaos and order. Watts had a deep fascination with the balance between chaos and order, how the universe always moves between these two poles. Too much chaos and life dissolves into confusion. Too much order and life becomes rigid, lifeless, unmoving. The sweet spot, the place where creativity, love, growth, and transformation happen, is right in the middle. The edge where stability meets spontaneity. Nature has always known this. A forest is not perfectly organized, neither is it pure chaos. It is a living balance of wandering vines, ancient trunks, decaying leaves, and new sprouts. Your life, Watts teaches, is no different. You need just enough order to give shape to your days, but just enough chaos to keep you alive. Just enough structure to feel grounded, but just enough unpredictability to feel free. Just enough certainty to feel faith, but just enough mystery to feel awake. This middle place, the breathing place, is where the dance happens. Not forced, not controlled, just lived. Suffering as a portal, not a failure. Watts never asked people to deny their pain. He never trivialized suffering. He never dismissed grief or confusion or heartbreak. Instead, he invited us to see suffering as a portal, a doorway through which deeper understanding enters your life. He said, "The obstacle is always the gateway." Not because suffering is good, but because resistance to suffering creates more suffering. When you meet pain with openness, not resignation, not avoidance, but awareness, it becomes something else. It becomes clarity. It becomes depth. It becomes connection with the rawness of being alive. Suffering is not a failure. It is a reminder that you are sensitive enough to feel the world, and that sensitivity is the foundation of wisdom. A glimpse of the deepest freedom. All of this, the dream, the illusion of meaning, the balance of chaos and order, the transformation of suffering, leads to the deepest freedom Watts ever described. The freedom of no longer needing life to be different than it is. This does not mean apathy. It does not mean complacency. It does not mean giving up on growth or change or hope. It means you stop demanding that the universe obey your preferences. You stop fighting reality. You stop arguing with the moment. You begin to flow instead of resist. Life becomes lighter, easier, more fluid. You laugh more, you forgive faster, you feel more deeply, you love without conditions. Because you realize that nothing in the universe has ever been separate from you. Not your fears, not your joys, not your revelations, not your experiences. Everything is the universe playing itself forward, and you are simply one of its infinite dances. The art of dying, the mystery of identity, and the eternal dance of impermanence. There is a moment that every human being fears, avoids, or tries endlessly to postpone, the moment of letting go. Letting go of control, letting go of certainty, letting go of the familiar identity we've spent a lifetime constructing. But the greatest letting go of all, and the one Alan Watts spoke of with a strange mixture of gentleness and humor, is death. Not in a morbid sense, and not with despair, but as the final teacher, the ultimate Zen master, the moment that reveals what life truly is. Lotz would say, dying is not the end. It is like taking off a tight shoe. He meant this literally and metaphorically. Dying is the release of the cramped sense of self, the small identity that believes it must hold the universe together. And in death, for the first time, you stop trying. You stop controlling. You stop resisting. You stop fighting the flow. You let go, completely. And in that letting go, you discover something unexpected. You were never the one holding on. Life was holding you. The fear of death, and why it is the fear of life. Watts believed that fear of death is not really fear of death. It is fear of the unknown, fear of surrender, fear of losing control, fear of dissolving into something larger than the story of me. But here is the paradox. You dissolve into something larger every night when you fall asleep, and you do it willingly. You allow consciousness to slip away. You allow the world to disappear. You allow yourself to vanish, without fear, without resistance, without mourning. Why? Because you trust the process. Deep inside, you know you will rise again. Watts suggested that death is the same, a return to the place you came from, not a void, not a darkness, not a punishment, but a return to the infinite, a return to the source, a return to the awareness that was never born and can never die. The I that you protect, what is it? Let's go deeper. The you who fears death, who is that? Watts liked to playfully unravel the illusion of identity until you began to see that the self you defend so fiercely is something you cannot actually find. You say, I'm afraid, I'm stressed, I'm in control, I'm failing, I'm improving, I'm not enough. But who is this I? Is it the body? Your body changes every moment. Atoms come and go like visitors in a hotel. Is it your mind? Thoughts flicker and vanish like fireflies. Is it your personality? Your personality shifts with age, context, emotion, and memory. Is it your memories? Even those rewrite themselves again and again with each recollection. The I you protect is a story, a narrative, a fragile collection of ideas stitched together by habit and belief. And when you finally see this, when you look for the self and cannot find it, a strange peace emerges, because the thing you fear losing never existed in the way you imagined. You were never a thing. You were always a process, a happening, a momentary expression of the universe unfolding. The universe as a self-portrait. Watts loved the idea that the universe is not meaningless or directional, but playful. He imagined the cosmos like an artist painting itself again and again through countless forms. A galaxy is a self-portrait. A bird is a self-portrait. A human being is a self-portrait. Each one a unique expression of the same underlying mystery. He would say, you are an aperture through which the universe is looking at itself. Not metaphorically, quite literally. Your eyes, your awareness, your consciousness, these are instruments the cosmos uses to perceive itself. You are not an outsider looking at the world. You are the world, looking at itself from a different angle. And when you understand this, your fear lessens. How can a wave fear returning to the ocean? It is the ocean. How can a flame fear returning to fire? How can light fear being absorbed by the sun? Impermanence, the master teacher. If there is one teaching that runs through everything Watts ever said, it is this. Everything is impermanent, and impermanence is not a problem. It is life. Everything you love will change. Everyone you meet will transform. Every chapter you live will eventually end. This sounds tragic until you understand something deeper. Impermanence is the source of all beauty. A flower is beautiful because it wilts. A sunset is breathtaking because it fades. A melody is moving because it ends. If life were permanent, unchanging, fixed, and frozen, nothing would matter. Nothing would feel alive. Nothing would touch you. The poignancy of existence, the tenderness, the sweetness, the urgency, the depth, comes from the truth that nothing lasts forever. Watts often said, "The meaning of life is found in the rhythm, not the permanence." Life is not a sculpture, it is a dance. Meaning is not in the stillness, it is in the movement, the beautiful inevitability of change. We fear change because the ego loves stability. It wants guarantees, it wants comfort, it wants predictability. But life is never still. Everything you are experiencing right now, the sound in the room, the feeling in your body, the emotions in your chest, the thoughts forming in your mind, is already changing. Nothing remains as it was even 5 seconds ago. And instead of resisting this, Watts invites us to embrace it, to see change as the heartbeat of the universe, to see uncertainty as the engine of creativity, to see impermanence as the proof that life is alive. You do not love a person despite their changes. You love them because of them. You do not live fully despite the unknown. You live fully because of it. How to die before you die and why it sets you free. Watts often spoke of dying before you die, not physically, not literally, but psychologically. It means letting the false self fall away before the final moment arrives. Letting go of the rigid identity you cling to. Letting go of the need to be right, to be understood, to be admired, to be secure. Letting go of the illusion that you can make life behave according to your preferences. When you die to these illusions while still alive, something extraordinary happens. You discover ease. You discover acceptance. You discover freedom from the endless struggle to control the uncontrollable. And in this inner death, you experience rebirth. Rebirth into spaciousness, into clarity, into simplicity, into presence. The burden drops, the tension releases, the mind softens. You laugh more, you forgive quicker, you flow easier, because you finally understand there is nothing to protect, nothing to defend, nothing to fear. You are life playing a human, and the moment you embrace this, you become free in a way you have never been before. Part 7, The Play of God, the Illusion of Separation, and the Ultimate Secret of Being. There is an ancient idea woven through the heart of everything Alan Watts ever taught. The universe is playing a game, a divine game, a cosmic game. Not a cruel game, not a trivial game, but a game of hide and seek. A game in which the one consciousness that underlies all things forgets itself on purpose so that it can rediscover itself in countless forms. You, me, everyone you meet, every creature, every tree, every star, every moment. Each one a mask, a disguise, a role the universe plays to explore itself from a new angle. Watts would say, God pretends to be you. Not metaphorically, not symbolically, quite literally. The infinite consciousness that created galaxies and oceans also peers through your eyes as the unique expression you call me. You are not a piece of God. You are not a reflection of God. You are not a creation of God. You are God in disguise. And the disguise is the ego. The cosmic hide and seek. Here is how Watts describes the game. Imagine you are the infinite, boundless, all-powerful, all-knowing, eternal. After an eternity of being everything, you start to feel bored, because nothing surprises you, nothing amazes you, nothing challenges you. So you decide to play a game, a thrilling one, a mysterious one, a game where you pretend to no longer know who you are. You enter a body, a mind, a personality, a little bubble of identity. You forget the whole. You forget your true nature. You forget the cosmic joke. You take on the role of a human being with fears, dreams, routines, and questions. And you wander the world looking for meaning, searching for connection, chasing purpose, playing your character as convincingly as possible. The game ends when you awaken. Awakening is simply this: remembering who is behind the mask. What you call your life is God playing human. This is why Watts insisted that awakening is not an achievement or a special ability. It is not the result of spiritual discipline, moral purity, or intellectual effort. Awakening is remembering. It is recognizing that the consciousness behind your thoughts is not personal. It is the same consciousness behind every being, not individual minds, but one mind appearing as many, like one sun reflected in 1,000 ponds. Each reflection moves differently. Each pond ripples in its own unique way, but the light is the same. Your consciousness is that light. It does not belong to you. It looks like you only because of the shape of your mind, just as the sun looks like the shape of whatever surface reflects it. This is why you can never see the self, never grasp it, never locate it, because the self is not inside you. The self is everything. The metaphor of the mask. In classical theater, actors wore masks. The mask was the persona, the identity, the role played for the audience. The word person comes from the Latin persona, meaning that through which the sound passes. Your identity is the mask through which the universe sings its song. Your name is a mask, your job is a mask, your personality is a mask, your story is a mask, and they are beautiful masks, vivid, emotional, expressive, full of drama and meaning, but they are not you. Watts would pose the question, who are you without the mask? The moment you take the mask off, not physically, but psychologically, you discover something stunning. There is no fixed identity behind the mask. There is only presence, only awareness, only the luminous space in which all experience unfolds. And this presence cannot die, cannot be harmed, cannot be diminished. It is the eternal player behind the temporary play. The dance of separation and unity. One of the most profound paradoxes in all of Watts's teachings is that separation is both an illusion and a necessary illusion. The universe divides itself into apparent parts so that it can experience relationship. If there were no other, there could be no love. If there were no separation, there could be no connection. If there were no forgetting, there could be no rediscovery. You cannot find yourself unless you first lose yourself. This is the sacred tension that makes life meaningful. We are one, pretending to be many. We are infinite, pretending to be limited. We are timeless, pretending to be temporary. The magic is in the pretending. The awakening is in the remembering. Both are part of the same dance. Why the self cannot be located. Watts would often challenge students to find the self. He'd say, look inside. Can you find the thinker of thoughts, the feeler of feelings, the watcher of experience? You might search your mind, your body, your memories, your beliefs, but you will never find the self as a solid thing. You find thoughts, you find sensations, you find emotions, you find memories, but you do not find the one having them. Because the one having them is not a thing. It is awareness, not an object, but a field, not a person, but a process, not something inside you, but the space in which you appear. The self is unfindable because it is not separate from anything. You cannot find the ocean inside a wave. You cannot find the sky inside a cloud. You cannot find the self inside the person, because the person is inside the self. The secret of life, you are it. In the end, after all the metaphors, after all the paradoxes, after all the stories about illusion and awakening, Watts offers one stunningly simple truth. You are what you seek. What you long for is what you already are. You search for connection because you are connection. You search for meaning because you are meaning. You search for God because you are God, playing human for a while. The seeker is the sought. The journey is the destination. The question is the answer. The moment you realize this, you feel a wave of recognition, as if you've remembered something you always knew but somehow forgot. This is awakening. Not fireworks, not miracles, just the quiet understanding that you are not a fragment in a foreign universe. You are the universe itself, in temporary form. The ultimate freedom, fearless living. If you are the universe in disguise, then what is there to fear? Fear of death dissolves, because the one who dies is only the mask. Fear of failure dissolves, because there is no separate you who must achieve anything. Fear of the future dissolves, because the future is simply another expression of your own being. Fear of imperfection dissolves, because the universe expresses itself imperfectly on purpose. Fear of loss dissolves, because nothing can be lost that was ever truly separate. And once fear dissolves, you begin to live not cautiously, but freely, not timidly, but joyfully, not as someone trying to survive life, but as life itself, experiencing its own infinite possibility. This is the highest freedom Watts ever described. The freedom of knowing that whatever happens is part of you, and you are part of it. There is no enemy, no outside force, no separate destiny, just the infinite playing through the finite, moment by moment, breath by breath, in the eternal now. Part 8. The Sacred Ordinary, the Music of Existence, and the Return to the Present Moment. If you slow down, really slow down, you may start to notice something you've overlooked your entire life. Not hidden, not mystical, not supernatural. Something simple, something ordinary, something profoundly sacred. This moment. Not the one you hope for, not the one you fear, not the one you regret. This one. The one happening right now, as your lungs expand and contract, as the world hums softly around you, as your mind tries to decide whether to listen or wander. Alan Watts believed that the greatest spiritual secret is not found in distant temples, ancient scriptures, or esoteric practices. It is found in learning to fully inhabit the present. And he meant fully, not as an idea, not as a technique, not as something to achieve, but as a way of being, a relaxation into the awareness that is already here. The music of existence. Watts often compared life to music. He said, "We do not listen to music to get to the end. No one puts on their favorite song just to reach the last note. We listen because the entire movement, the rise, the fall, the silence between beats, the unpredictable turns, is the point." Life, he said, is the same. You are not here to reach a finish line. You are not here to complete a mission. You are not here to acquire something. You are here to dance with the unfolding. to feel the melody of existence, to savor the rhythm of your own aliveness. Just as a song is made meaningful by every note, your life is made meaningful by every moment, not by the destination. If life were about reaching the end, then the purpose of music would be the finale, and the purpose of dance would be the last step. But the point of music is the music. The point of dance is the dance, and the point of life is living. The sacredness of the ordinary. One of Watson's most overlooked teachings is his reverence for the ordinary. He believed the most miraculous moments happen not in temples or mountaintop awakenings, but in the details you consider mundane. A cup of warm tea held between both hands, the sound of wind passing through an open window, a passing smile from someone in the street, the texture of your clothes, the warmth of sunlight on your face. These simple moments, when noticed, are profound because they contain the whole of existence. Watts would often pause mid-lecture, look around the room, and smile at the simplest things: a chair leg, a streak of light on the floor, a quiet cough in the distance. Not because they were special, because they were alive. He wanted you to see that spirituality is not separate from daily life. It is daily life. The divine hides in plain sight, not in exotic rituals, but in the ever-present now. Not in visions, but in the breath. Not in transcendence, but in presence. The loss of wonder and how to reclaim it. Children understand something most adults forget. Everything is amazing. Grass is amazing. Ants are amazing. Clouds are amazing. Stones are amazing. Puddles are extraordinary universes. As we grow older, we lose this wonder, not because the world becomes less magical, but because we stop looking. Watts believed that the tragedy of adulthood is not the loss of innocence, but the loss of curiosity. We start to think we know everything. We assume the world is familiar. We stop asking questions because answers feel more comfortable. But answers are rarely alive. Questions are. To reclaim wonder, you must look at the world as if seeing it for the first time. Let the familiar become strange again. Look at your hand as if you've never seen a hand. Consider the fact that you are conscious as if it is the wildest miracle, because it is. Examine your thoughts as if they are foreign creatures passing through your awareness, because they are. In wonder, the world becomes bright again, and in brightness, gratitude appears naturally, not as an obligation, but as a quiet awe. The mind that cannot hold still. Watts understood that the deepest barrier to experiencing the present is the restless mind. Your mind is a storyteller, a commentator, a planner, a warrior, a theorizer, a memory machine, a future projector. It pulls you into past and future, into imaginary scenarios, into loops of thought that feel urgent but are rarely real. He said, "The mind is a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. When it controls you, you feel anxious, incomplete, unsettled. When you observe it without identifying with it, you become free." This is why Watts never asked people to stop thinking. You can't. Thoughts appear like clouds in the sky, but you can learn not to chase every cloud. You can watch thought the way you watch weather, changing, moving, appearing and disappearing. The moment you become the watcher instead of the thinker, you reclaim the present. You drop out of the storm and into the sky. The stillness beneath experience. Beneath the activity of life, beneath noise, sensation, movement, thought, there is something untouched. A stillness, a silence, a background awareness, always present, always peaceful, always here. Watts believed that this stillness is your true self, not the persona you present, not the identity you defend, not the story you tell, but the quiet, open, spacious presence beneath all of it. He compared it to the space in a room. When you walk into a room, you notice the objects, the furniture, the pictures, the colors, but you rarely notice the space. And yet, without the space, nothing else is possible. Your awareness is that space. Thoughts are furniture, feelings are artwork, experiences are ornaments, but the awareness in which they all appear, that is you. Not the content, the context, not the objects, the openness, not the changing, the changelessness beneath change. When you rest in this awareness, the world feels lighter, challenges feel softer, life feels more like a dance and less like a burden. The beauty of having no destination. Watts loved an idea that confuses many at first, but becomes deeply peaceful once understood. Life has no destination, and that is what makes it beautiful. You are not moving toward a final point. You are not a project to be completed. You are not an unfinished sculpture waiting for perfection. You are a process, a river, a flame, a melody, a breeze. You are movement itself. There is no need to hurry, no need to achieve some final state. The universe is not rushing. It unfolds, it blossoms, it breathes, it expands with effortless grace. And so can you. The absence of a final destination is not meaningless. It is liberating, because it frees you from the pressure to make every moment count towards some imagined future. You can let each moment be complete in itself. A full breath, a full presence, a full experience. Life becomes rich not when you reach the end, but when you realize there is no end to reach. The return to now. Everything Watts taught leads here. The present moment is the seat of reality, the home of peace, the birthplace of wisdom. You do not reach the present, you fall into it. You let go into it. You relax your grip on everything else, your plans, your memories, your anxieties, your self-image, and you return to the immediacy of being alive. This is awakening, not a mystical explosion, not a cosmic revelation, not a vision, just presence, just awareness, just the quiet joy of being here, nothing more and nothing less. Part 9. The wisdom of surrender, the flow of nature, and the great paradox of freedom. There is a moment in every human life when effort stops working. You try to force clarity, but confusion grows. You try to force love, and connection slips away. You try to force happiness, and life feels heavier. You try to force control, and the world becomes unmanageable. This is not failure. This is not weakness. This is the moment when life whispers, "Stop pushing. Start listening." Alan Watts believed deeply in the power of surrender, not as resignation, not as defeat, but as alignment. Surrender is not giving up. Surrender is giving in to the natural flow of existence. It is the recognition that life is not an enemy to be conquered, nor a puzzle to be solved, but a mystery to be danced with. He would say, "You are not controlling your life, you are surfing it." And surfing, unlike fighting, requires sensitivity. The river that cannot be pushed. Imagine walking to the edge of a river. The current is strong but gentle, pulling everything downstream with a natural intelligence. You cannot push the river. You cannot control its pace. You cannot demand that it flow a certain way. But you can enter it. You can float. You can swim in harmony with it. Life works the same way. We try so hard to push the river, to force outcomes, to force people, to force our own minds into states they're not in. The result is friction, resistance, suffering. Watts invites you to stop pushing and start flowing, to recognize that reality has its own rhythm, its own timing, its own unfolding, and it is wiser than your plans. When you align with this flow, when you allow life to breathe without your constant interference, something miraculous happens. Challenges soften, opportunities arise naturally, energy returns, clarity emerges. Not because you forced it, but because you stopped interrupting what was trying to unfold. The paradox of freedom, letting go is power. Here is one of Watts' most startling insights. The more you try to control life, the less control you have. The more you let go, the more power you gain. This is the opposite of what society teaches you. Society tells you to manage everything. Your time, your appearance, your image, your emotions, your productivity, your relationships, your goals. But control is fragile, exhausting, temporary. Real power comes from flexibility, adaptability, presence, like bamboo bending in the wind instead of breaking, like water that yields but always finds its way. Letting go does not make you powerless. It makes you unstoppable. Because you stop fighting life and begin collaborating with it. You stop resisting and start responding. You move with the intelligence of the moment, not the rigidity of your expectations. The wisdom of nature, everything in its own time. Watts had great respect for the natural world. He often pointed out that nature never rushes, yet everything gets done. A tree does not force itself to grow. It grows because growth is its nature. A flower does not strain to open. It opens when the moment is right. The moon does not hurry through its phases. The tides do not panic. The seasons do not apologize for arriving early or late. And yet, everything unfolds perfectly. Nature is never early, never late, never behind. It is always exact. Watts asks us to understand ourselves in the same way. You are not a machine to be optimized. You are a living process. Your growth has its seasons. Your emotions have their tides. Your insights bloom in their own time. And the moment you stop demanding that you grow faster, the moment you stop comparing your pace to others, you discover the profound ease of being aligned with your own nature. The illusion of chasing happiness. One of the most compassionate truths Watts ever expressed is this: happiness cannot be pursued. It can only be allowed. When you chase happiness, you reinforce the belief that it is somewhere else, in the future, in another version of your life, in another version of yourself. But happiness is not an achievement. It is a quality that arises naturally when you stop resisting reality. Happiness is the residue of alignment, the side effect of presence, the echo of acceptance. It is what appears when you are not trying to make life different from what it is. This is why people feel happiest in moments of pure presence, drinking tea, laughing with friends, walking without a destination, watching rain on the window, lying on the floor with music playing. The moment you relax into the now, without improving it, without escaping it, happiness arises by itself. Not forced, not constructed, not chased, just felt. The great mistake, trying to fix everything. Watts observed that humans suffer deeply because we treat ourselves as problems to be solved. We try to fix our minds, fix our past, fix our emotions, fix our flaws, fix our entire identity. But what if you don't need fixing? What if the broken parts are simply misunderstood? What if your anxiety is just the mind trying to protect you? Your sadness just a signal to rest? Your confusion just a sign that a deeper understanding is forming? Watts would say, "You are not a malfunction, you are a process." And processes do not need fixing, they need understanding. They need space, they need gentleness, they need time. You are not a machine. You are a rhythm, a movement, tide, a flame. When you stop treating yourself as a problem, you stop living in conflict with your own nature. And when that conflict dissolves, peace emerges, quiet, natural, effortless. The return to the body, your first home. Watts emphasized that we spend so much time living in our heads that we forget we are bodies. We forget the pulse of our breath, the warmth of our hands, the aliveness in every cell. The mind pulls us into abstraction. The body brings us back into reality. The mind creates stories. The body creates presence. Watts encouraged returning to the body as a way of returning to life itself. Feel your breath as if it is the tide. Feel the weight of your body as if the earth is holding you. Feel the sounds around you without labeling them. The body anchors you in the present in a way the mind never can. This does not require effort. It requires sensitivity, a softening, a listening, a willingness to be here, in this breath, in this moment, in this body. Your body is not a cage. It is your first home, your first temple, your first doorway into the mystery of being. The quiet revolution of acceptance. When you combine surrender, presence, and alignment with nature, something extraordinary happens. Acceptance. Not passive acceptance, not resignation, not defeat, but a profound yes to the reality of the moment. Acceptance does not mean you never change anything. It means you stop fighting the present while you move toward the future. It means you stop resisting what is while still embracing what could be. It is possible to seek growth without rejecting yourself. It is possible to dream without abandoning the moment. It is possible to move forward without hating where you are. Acceptance is the middle path, the open hand between clinging and pushing. And when you find it, life opens, softens, breathes, expands. This is the heart of everything Watts taught. When you stop resisting life, life stops resisting you. Part 10. The unity of opposites, the silence of the mind, and the gentle art of allowing life to unfold. There is a strange and beautiful truth hidden inside everything Alan Watts ever taught, a truth so simple that most people walk past it without noticing. Life is made of opposites that cannot exist without each other. Just as a coin needs two sides, just as sound needs silence, just as movement needs stillness, your experience of life is always born from contrast. But the ego, in its constant search for certainty, wants one side without the other. It wants pleasure without pain, success without failure, joy without sorrow, life without death, growth without discomfort. And that desire creates endless suffering. Watts reveals that the moment you reject one side, you lose them both, because the opposites are not enemies, they are partners. They are threads in the same tapestry. They are movements in the same dance. To reject the dark, not practiced, not moral, natural. Because suddenly you see yourself in everyone. Their fears are your fears. Their insecurities are your insecurities. Their longing as your longing. And even their flaws look familiar, as if they come from the same place you struggled with for years. The compassion that doesn't need effort. Most people think compassion is something you do, a behavior, a virtue, an act of kindness. But Watts reveals that true compassion is not something you perform. It is something you feel when the illusion of separation falls away. When you see others not as separate beings, but as expressions of the same consciousness, like waves recognizing their oceanness in each other. In this state, compassion becomes effortless. You don't try to forgive, you simply understand. You don't try to be patient, you simply see clearly. You don't try to be kind, you simply respond with awareness. Compassion is what remains when the ego is quiet. It is the natural behavior of an unconflicted mind. The world as a projection of your inner state. Watts would often say that the world you see is shaped far more by your state of consciousness than by external conditions. When you are angry, the world seems hostile. When you are afraid, the world seems threatening. When you are peaceful, the world seems open. When you are loving, the world seems alive. The world is not changing, you are. Your mind paints the world with the colors of your state. Watts would compare this to wearing tinted glasses. Put on red glasses, the world looks red. Put on blue glasses, the world looks blue. The glasses are your thoughts, your beliefs, your fears, your expectations. Remove the glasses, or even just recognize that you're wearing them, and your perception softens. The world becomes lighter, more fluid, more nuanced, less intimidating. You start to see reality instead of rejection. The end of blame. When you see that life is a mirror, blame becomes unnecessary. Blaming others for how they act or how they make you feel becomes pointless, because you realize that your reaction is your own. Your irritation is your own. Your disappointment is your own. Your pain is your own. Not created by them, triggered by them. And the trigger reveals something already inside you. This realization does not excuse harmful behavior, but it transforms your relationship with it. Instead of saying, "They hurt me," you begin to say, "This situation shows me where I am tender. This person reveals a part of myself I have not examined. This pain is pointing to a place that needs awareness." Blame dissolves into understanding. Understanding dissolves into clarity. And clarity dissolves into freedom. The gift of difficult people. Watts had a playful way of reframing difficult relationships. He said that challenging people are some of your greatest teachers, not because they are wise, but because they reveal where your work is. The person who triggers you shows you a wound, a belief, a fear, a rigidity. The person who frustrates you shows you your own impatience. The person who intimidates you shows you your insecurities. The person who judges you shows you your attachment to approval. The person who tries to control you shows you your own fear of powerlessness. Every difficult encounter is a clue, a breadcrumb leading back to your own inner labyrinth. And following these clues is how you become free. Relationships as a spiritual path. Most people think of spirituality as meditation, prayer, solitude, ritual, study. But Watts insisted that the most profound spiritual practice is relationship, because relationship forces you to confront your ego. It forces you to see your patterns. It forces you to learn softness, patience, humility, communication, presence. You cannot hide from yourself in relationship. Your shadows emerge, your needs emerge, your expectations emerge. And when you see them, not with shame, not with avoidance, you begin to grow. Relationships are not obstacles on the spiritual path. They are the spiritual path, because the entire illusion of separation, the foundation of ego, is challenged by connection. Every moment of relationship is an opportunity to awaken. The end of argument, not by winning, but by seeing. Watts knew that arguments arise not because of disagreement, but because of identification. You argue when you think your beliefs are you. So an attack on your belief feels like an attack on your identity. But the moment you see that thoughts are just thoughts, beliefs are just patterns, opinions are just passing clouds, they lose their weight. You can still disagree, you can still discuss, you can still challenge, but you no longer fight to defend a rigid self. Disagreement becomes exploration. Conflict becomes play. Tension becomes curiosity. Arguments end naturally, not because you win, but because there is nothing left to defend. The deepest compassion, seeing the shared human condition. Every person you meet is carrying something invisible. A memory that still hurts. A fear they've never spoken aloud. A longing they don't know how to express. A confusion they can't unravel. A burden they silently carry. A softness they are afraid to show. Watts knew that seeing the shared tenderness in all beings is the beginning of true compassion. Not pity, not moral superiority, not charity. Compassion born from recognition. We are the same, made of the same consciousness, struggling in the same illusion, searching for the same freedom, afraid of the same things, longing for the same love. When you see this, your heart opens, your judgment softens, your patience expands, your presence deepens. You become gentle, not because you are trying to be a good person, but because gentleness is the natural response when you see the universe looking at you through every pair of eyes. Part 12. The playfulness of reality, the freedom of uncertainty, and the cosmic joke at the heart of existence. Pause for a moment and listen, not with your ears, but with the quiet space behind your thoughts. Do you hear it? A subtle hum, a gentle vibration, a sense that everything, every breath, every sensation, every heartbeat is part of one continuous movement. Alan Watts believed that life is not a serious mission, but a playful unfolding, a cosmic improvisation, a spontaneous dance. But humans, lost in thought, lost in obligation, lost in the illusion of identity, turn this dance into a burden. We treat life like a test to pass, a project to perfect, a mountain to climb, a riddle to solve. But Watts invites us to step back and see the cosmic joke. Life is not serious. We only take it that way. The universe is laughing softly, not at you, but with you. The cosmic joke, and why most people miss it. What is the joke? The joke is that you spend your whole life trying to become something you already are. trying to prove yourself to a universe that is not judging you, trying to find meaning in a reality where meaning is woven into every atom, trying to escape the present to reach a future that only ever arrives as the present, trying to become somebody when the essence of freedom is being nobody, trying to control life when life is the one controlling you, trying to discover truth when truth is the very thing you are made of. It's funny, in the gentlest, most compassionate way, because the moment you stop struggling, you realize you were never lost. You were only pretending, and the pretending was part of the game. The freedom of not knowing. Modern society worships certainty. We fear the unknown, avoid ambiguity, seek answers, define everything, and cling to solid ground. But Watts suggests that the unknown is not a threat. It is freedom. The unknown is the open sky in which possibilities live. The known is the cage. You cannot grow inside what is familiar. You cannot awaken is to dim the light. To reject sorrow is to numb joy. To reject uncertainty is to limit possibility. To reject death is to fear life. The art of living begins when you see that the tension between opposites is not a problem. It is the very mechanism that makes experience possible. The wave and the trough, why you cannot rise without falling. Watts often described life as a waveform, a rising and falling, an expansion and contraction, a crest and a trough. You cannot have the crest without the trough. You cannot have the high without the low. Just as the ocean cannot be only waves or only stillness, your life cannot be only peaks. Every high is defined by its contrast with the low. This does not mean you must seek suffering. It means you stop resisting the natural rhythm of existence. When you embrace the trough as part of the wave, it loses its threat. It becomes part of the flow. When you understand that moments of confusion are the beginning of clarity, you stop panicking when clarity disappears. When you realize that uncertainty is the birthplace of possibility, you stop fearing the unknown. This is the wisdom of riding the wave instead of fighting it. The silence you always carry with you. Behind every thought, beneath every emotion, beneath every sensation, there is a silence, a stillness, a quiet, vast, open awareness. This silence is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of space. It is the space in which thoughts appear and disappear, just as clouds drift across a sky. Watts believed that this inner silence is the true self, the witness behind experience, the screen upon which life is projected. You cannot create this silence. You cannot force it. You cannot achieve it through effort. It is always here. It has always been here. It will always be here. The mind is restless, but awareness is still. Thoughts move, but awareness does not. Emotions rise and fall, but awareness remains spacious. The practice, if you can call it a practice, is simply to notice, to see thoughts without being pulled by them, to feel emotions without becoming them, to sense the world without clinging to it. And in this noticing, you fall back into the silence that has never left you, allowing life to be life. One of the greatest misunderstandings in the modern world is the belief that we must constantly improve, constantly optimize, constantly manage every aspect of existence. We treat life as a project to be perfected. But Watts shows us that life is not a project. Life is a process. It unfolds by itself, it breathes itself, it grows itself, it heals itself, it moves itself. The heart beats without your command. The lungs expand without your permission. The organs function without your control. The seasons shift without your strategy. The earth spins without your effort. The universe does not need you to micromanage it. Your only task is to allow life to be life, to let reality unfold without forcing it into your expectations. Allowing is not passivity. Allowing is cooperation. It is dancing with the rhythm instead of stepping on your own feet. The self that flows like water. Watts constantly returned to one metaphor: water. He admired water because it is flexible yet powerful, soft yet unstoppable, yielding yet resilient. Water does not resist the shape of the world. It adapts, it flows, it finds a path through every obstacle. But its flexibility is its strength. It teaches us that softness is not weakness, that yielding is not defeat, that openness is not vulnerability, it is wisdom. You do not need to force yourself into a rigid identity. You do not need to solidify your character as if you are a statue. You are water, you are movement, you are change, you are flow. And the more you allow yourself to be fluid, the more effortlessly you move through life. The ego as a temporary fiction. Watts often described the ego as a useful fiction, a character created to navigate the social world. It is necessary for communication, for naming, for planning, for storytelling, but it is not your essence. The ego is like a role played in a play. The danger is not the role. The danger is forgetting it is a role. When the actor believes the character is real, suffering begins. Fear emerges, defensiveness appears, identity becomes rigid, life becomes a struggle. But when you remember that the ego is just a costume, a practical tool, a mask worn for a time, you no longer fear change. You no longer cling to the past. You no longer defend yourself against imaginary threats. You can play the role beautifully, passionately, authentically, without mistaking yourself for the character. This is freedom. The world does not need to be explained, only experienced. Watts often warned against the modern obsession with explanation. We think that if we understand life intellectually, we will finally be at peace. But explanation is not experience. Knowledge is not wisdom. Concepts are not reality. He would say, the menu is not the meal. You can analyze fire, but that does not mean you have felt its warmth. You can describe water, but that does not mean you have tasted it. Life is not lived through concepts. It is lived through awareness, through sensation, presence, immediacy. You cannot think your way into peace. You can only relax your way into being. You cannot explain your way into truth. You can only experience yourself as part of it. This moment, breath moving, sounds happening, thoughts appearing, is reality. Everything else is commentary. The expansion of consciousness, not an achievement, but a return. People often speak of expanding consciousness as if it's a goal to reach. But Watts reveals that consciousness does not expand. It is already vast. What expands is your ability to notice it. What widens is your willingness to rest in it. What deepens is your capacity to trust it. Awakening is not growth. Awakening is return. A return to the awareness that was always here, always open, always untouched by the movements of the mind. You do not climb to enlightenment. You fall back into it, into the silence, into the presence, into the natural flow of what you already are. Part 11. The mirror of the world, the illusion of otherness, and the deep compassion born of understanding. Look closely, not at the world outside, but at the one inside. Notice the way you react to people, to situations, to words, to memories. Every reaction is a reflection. Every irritation is a mirror. Every attraction is a mirror. Every judgment is a mirror. Every tenderness is a mirror. Watts often said, "You do not meet the world, you meet yourself again and again in different disguises." If you understand this, your entire relationship with life begins to shift. Because suddenly, no experience is meaningless. No person is random. No moment is wasted. Everything becomes a teacher. Everything becomes an echo of your own consciousness. This is not solipsism. It is sensitivity. It is the recognition that what you perceive is shaped by what you are. The world is not separate from your awareness of it. The outer and the inner are two sides of the same movement. The myth of the other. Consider this. The person you love and the person you resent both reflect something in you. The friend who inspires you, the stranger who annoys you, the partner who challenges you, each one lights up a different part of your inner world. The ego insists, they are separate, they are different, they are not me. But Watts reveals the deeper truth. There is no such thing as a totally separate other. You cannot perceive anything without projecting meaning onto it. You cannot encounter someone without filtering the encounter through your own mind. In this sense, the people in your life are not mirrors of who they are. They are mirrors of how you see. Once this becomes clear, compassion arises naturally, not forced. Inside what is predictable, you cannot transform. Inside what is certain. The mind seeks clarity, but the soul, if we can borrow that word, thrives in mystery. Watts would say, to live fully is to live without certainty. Not because certainty is bad, but because certainty is the end of exploration. Uncertainty is the beginning of wonder. The playful universe and your role in it. Watts frequently used the word play. He believed the highest form of intelligence is not analysis, but play. Playfulness is the expression of a mind that is not afraid. Playfulness is the natural state of existence. Just look at nature. Water dances. Fire flickers. Wind improvises. Birds experiment. Clouds drift. Children laugh. Animals explore. The universe does not move in straight lines. It swirls, loops, spirals, expands, contracts, like an artist trying new brushstrokes. You are a brushstroke, a gesture, a moment of creativity. You were not meant to be rigid, predictable, or perfect. You were meant to play, to explore, to express, to unfold. to surprise yourself. Watts reminds us, the meaning of life is just to be alive. Alive in the fullest sense, not mechanical, not anxious, not striving, but present, curious, open, playful. The irony of the spiritual seeker. Many who seek spirituality approach it as a discipline, a path of self-improvement, a ladder to climb, a state to achieve. But Watts found a gentle irony in this. He said that spiritual seeking often strengthens the very ego people are trying to transcend. The ego says, I will become enlightened. I will transcend the world. I will purify myself. I will overcome desire. I will reach the ultimate state. But spirituality is not self-improvement. It is self-disappearance. It is the realization that the self you are trying to purify is a phantom, a mental construction. Trying to polish the ego is like trying to wash a mirage. The ego cannot be perfected. It can only be seen through. And once seen through, it relaxes. It stops pretending to be the ruler of reality. It becomes transparent, a functional tool, not an identity. In this transparency, freedom arises. The pathless path. If there is one notion Watts returned to again and again, it is the idea that the spiritual journey is not a journey. It has no distance, no destination, no map, no steps. Why? Because you cannot travel to where you already are. Awakening is not a path outward. It is a falling inward, into the present, into awareness, into the simple fact of being. This is why Watts said, you are already it, you just don't know it yet. You don't need to climb a mountain. You don't need to renounce the world. You don't need to fix your personality. You don't need to transcend your humanity. You only need to see clearly. And seeing clearly means dropping the search for something that is already present. The pathless path is not a trick. It is reality. The great myth of control, a closer look. We've touched on control before, but now we go deeper. Control is the great illusion of the modern mind. We think we are controlling our breath, our body, our thoughts, our future, our relationships, our destiny. But Watts points out that if you examine control honestly, it falls apart. Your thoughts appear by themselves. Your emotions arise uninvited. Your heartbeat beats without permission. Your destiny unfolds in ways you could never predict. Life is not controlled. It is participated in, like a dance, like a melody, like a river. You do not push the river. You float with it. You swim within it. You allow it to carry you while guiding yourself with gentle movements. This is not passivity. It is intelligence. Control is rigidity. Participation is fluidity. Life is fluid. Why effortlessness is not laziness. Watts used the Chinese term Wu Wei to describe effortless action, doing by not doing, effort by non-force. Many misunderstand this as laziness or lack of initiative, but effortless action is the most skillful action. Consider the archer who lets the arrow go without hesitation, or the musician who plays without thinking, or the surfer who adapts instantly to the wave. In each case, mastery comes not from excessive effort, but from alignment with the natural flow. The ego pushes, awareness responds. The ego resists, awareness yields. The ego strains, awareness moves easily. You are most powerful when you act without tension, most creative when you stop trying to be creative, most loving when you stop trying to be lovable, most present when you stop trying to be present. When effort drops, your true nature emerges. The joke about your life's seriousness. Imagine the universe as an actor on an infinite stage. It plays galaxies, plays forests, plays oceans, plays animals, plays humans. But the actor never becomes lost in the role. It knows it is pretending. Humans, however, forget the role is a role. We take everything personally, seriously, desperately. Watts saw the humor in this cosmic amnesia. He didn't mock it, he empathized with it. But he also encouraged a lighter touch, a loosening, a willingness to laugh gently at your own seriousness. Because seriousness is a form of rigidity, and rigidity breaks. But playfulness bends, flows, heals, restores. When you see the cosmic joke, your life does not become meaningless. It becomes lighter, more fluid, more beautiful. Because you no longer cling to the impossible task of trying to make life behave according to your plans. Instead, you dance. Part 13. The Art of Seeing Clearly, the Disappearance of Fear, and the Simplicity of Just Being. If you sit quietly for a moment and allow the noise of striving to settle like dust in sunlight, you may begin to sense something subtle, something easily missed. There is nothing you must become. There is only what you already are. Alan Watts believed that most human suffering is caused by the illusion that we must constantly improve, constantly upgrade ourselves, constantly become a better version of who we are. We carry an inner checklist: be more confident, be more spiritual, be more productive, be more complete, be someone else. But the truth, in its soft and liberating simplicity, is this: you are already whole, you are already enough, you are already complete. Not because you are perfect, but because perfection is a misunderstanding of life. Watts would smile and say, "The apple tree doesn't try to be a better tree, it simply grows, and that growing is its perfection. You are the same." The end of self-improvement. This may sound shocking in a world obsessed with self-help, self-optimization, self-transformation. But Watts did not oppose growth. He opposed striving. He opposed the idea that you must reshape yourself to be worthy, lovable, successful, or spiritual. Growth happens naturally when you stop interfering with yourself. Healing happens naturally when you stop resisting your emotions. Clarity arises naturally when you stop trying to control your thoughts. Peace flows naturally when you stop chasing it. Improvement, in the deepest sense, is not something you do. It is something that happens when you finally rest in what you are. Like water clearing when stirred mud settles. Fear, a mistake of perspective. One of Watts' most powerful insights is that fear is not a flaw. It is not an enemy. It is not a sign of weakness. Fear is a misunderstanding. It is the mistaken belief that you are a separate self in danger. But what if you are not separate? Not a fragment, not an isolated being surrounded by unpredictable forces. What if the consciousness behind your eyes is the same consciousness behind the eyes of every living being? What if you are the ocean mistaken for the wave? In that moment of recognition, fear loses its anchor. Not because danger disappears, but because the sense of me being threatened softens. Fear subsides. When separation subsides, the subtle illusion of my life. Watts often joked that people say my life as if life were something separate from themselves. But where is this life that you supposedly possess? Is it in your body, your thoughts, your memories, your identity? Or is life simply the unfolding of this moment? Breath, sensation, awareness, happening spontaneously. Life is not something you own. Life is something you are. The moment you stop treating life as a possession or a burden or a mission, the moment you stop thinking you must make something of it, a profound lightness appears. Because this moment, this very ordinary moment, is already complete. Life is already happening. You do not need to push it. The freedom of dropping the story. Every person carries a story. Sometimes it is a story of regret, sometimes a story of trauma, sometimes a story of ambition, sometimes a story of identity. I am this kind of person. I have this kind of past. I am limited in these ways. I must achieve these things. But the story is not who you are. It is a narrative, a mental habit, a collection of memories interpreted in a particular way. Watts would say, the past is a memory, the future is an imagination, only the present is real. When you drop the story, even briefly, you feel something remarkable. Space. Space to breathe, space to feel, space to be. You realize that nothing is holding you back except the belief that something is holding you back. Freedom is not a future achievement. It is the willingness to release the story right now. The joy of not knowing who you are. We believe that knowing who we are is necessary for stability, but Watts gently contradicts this. He says the opposite is true. Not knowing who you are is freedom, because the moment you think you know yourself, you imprison yourself. You limit your own possibility. I am shy. I am anxious. I am strong. I am weak. I am logical. I am emotional. I am this. I am that. But these are labels, temporary, contextual, fluid. You are not a fixed thing. You are a process, a flowing, evolving, unpredictable expression of consciousness. To not know yourself is to stay open, to stay curious, to allow life to reveal different versions of you as you grow. Identity becomes a river, not a prison. The world as a living mirror. Watts teaches us that the world reflects your inner state. If you are tense, the world seems threatening. If you are open, the world seems inviting. If you are joyful, the world seems alive. If you are fearful, the world seems heavy. The world is not the world. It is the mirror. But here is the miracle. When you change your way of seeing, the world changes. Not because the world shifts, but because the consciousness seeing it has shifted. This is why awakening is internal, not external. The world becomes brighter when your mind becomes clearer. The world becomes kinder when your heart opens. The world becomes peaceful when your presence deepens. The disappearance of resistance. All suffering comes from resistance. Resistance to change, resistance to emotion, resistance to uncertainty, resistance to imperfection, resistance to the moment. But the moment does not care about your resistance. Reality is unbothered by your preferences. When you resist, you create friction, tension, pain. But when you stop resisting, when you let the moment be exactly as it is, something profound happens. Peace. Not forced peace, not earned peace, natural peace. Because resistance was the only thing standing between you and the flow of life. When resistance disappears, life feels effortless. You breathe more naturally. You move more intuitively. You feel more deeply. You react more gently. Surrender is not giving up. Surrender is returning to the flow that was there all along. The ease of nothing to prove. Perhaps the most liberating insight Watts ever offered is this: you have nothing to prove. Not to others, not to society, not to yourself, not to the universe. You were not put here to meet expectations. You were not born to fulfill obligations. You are not alive to justify your existence. Existence is its own justification. A tree needs no permission to grow. A river needs no validation to flow. A flower needs no achievement to be beautiful. You too are already valid simply by being here. When you realize there is nothing to prove, you relax. Your shoulders soften, your breath deepens, your mind quiets. And in that quiet, you feel something astonishing. Being is enough. The illusion of time, the weightlessness of presence, and the liberation of living moment to moment. Look closely at this moment, not the next one, not the last one, just this one. Notice how the mind tries to turn this moment into a means to an end. It whispers, "What's next? What should I do? What does this mean? What am I moving toward?" But Watts reminds us with gentle certainty, there is no next. There is only now. Time, as we think of it, past, present, future, is a structure created by the mind. Useful, yes. Practical, yes. But ultimately, the concept. The past is a memory. The future is imagination. Only the present is alive. Only the present is real. This moment is the doorway to reality. Everything else is commentary. The past does not exist except as a thought. Watts loved to challenge people with simple questions that break illusions. He might ask, "Where is yesterday? Show it to me. Bring it here." You cannot. You can only recall it. A memory, a story, a mental reconstruction. And memory, as modern science confirms, rewrites itself each time you access it. The past is a moving target, a flickering mirage of neural patterns. The past does not exist outside of thought. It exists nowhere else. Once you see this, regret begins to soften, guilt begins to loosen, shame begins to dissolve, because you realize that you are suffering from memories your mind is generating now. And if the past lives only in your thoughts, then the freedom from the past lives in your awareness. The future is a dream projected onto the present. Just as the past is memory, the future is imagination. Plans, predictions, expectations, all of them are mental constructions projected into the unknown. Watts would say, you cannot live in tomorrow's sunshine with today's body. You cannot breathe air that does not yet exist. You cannot experience a moment that has not yet arrived. But the mind loves the future. It obsesses over it, clings to it, builds elaborate stories about what must happen or what must be avoided. The future becomes a place we escape into to avoid the discomfort of the present. But here is the paradox. The future you worry about will never arrive. When it comes, it will come as now. And if you cannot live in the now you already have, you will not be able to live in the now that is coming. Freedom from the future is not found in planning more or worrying less. It is found in recognizing the future as a thought, and thoughts are not reality. Why the present is so difficult for the mind? If the present is the only real thing, why is it so difficult to inhabit? Because the mind, in its nature, is restless. It is built to think, compare, predict, remember, analyze. It is always moving, like a river that cannot hold still. But awareness is still. Awareness is quiet. Awareness is open. To live in the present is to shift from mind to awareness, from doing to being, from thinking to noticing, from controlling to allowing. The mind is an excellent servant, but a terrible master. Presence begins the moment you stop obeying its constant commentary, the relief of letting time fall away. Watts often described the feeling of true presence as a kind of weightlessness, not physically, but psychologically. When time falls away, when you are not thinking about the past or worrying about the future, you feel light, you feel spacious, clear, awake. Your breath feels deeper, your body feels softer, your senses feel sharper. Even simple things become vivid. The texture of fabric, the sound of distant traffic, the light shifting across a wall, the feeling of air touching your skin. These details are usually ignored when you are lost in mental time travel. But in presence, they come alive. Life feels beautiful again, not because it changed, but because you showed up. The ego of time, and why it cannot live now. Watts taught that the ego is made of time. It is a story built from the past, your name, your memories, your beliefs, your desires. It is maintained by the future, your dreams, your fears, your expectations. The ego cannot live in the present because the present has no story. It has no continuation, no narrative, no identity. To be fully present is to momentarily die to the story of me. This is why the ego fights the present. It cannot survive it. But the real self, the awareness behind the story, is not threatened by the present. It is the present. Your true nature has no problem with now. Only the ego does. The present as a portal to peace. When you settle into the present, peace arises naturally, not forced, not manufactured, not constructed. Peace is the default state of awareness when it is not disturbed by the mind's movement. You do not no longer overwhelm you. They become scenery, passing weather, temporary movement. The more you recognize this, the less you suffer. Not because life becomes easier, but because you stop believing that storms are permanent. The end of rushing. Modern life runs on one unspoken belief. There is not enough time. Not enough time to rest, to finish, to understand, to succeed, to heal, to be. This belief creates anxiety, urgency, pressure, even when nothing urgent is happening. Watts offered a radical antidote. There is no time but now, and there is no need to rush what is already here. Rushing is an attempt to escape the moment. Presence is an invitation to inhabit it. When you drop the belief that life must be hurried, something softens in you. The breath slows, the mind unclenches, the body relaxes. You realize you are not late, you are not behind, you are not missing anything. You are here, and here is enough. The timeless dimension of awareness. Watts described a fascinating discovery. When you observe the present deeply, you find that it has no duration. It is not a slice of time. It is timeless. It is the constant background on which time appears. Awareness does not move from moment to moment. It is the stillness in which moments arise. When you rest in awareness, you move outside of time without leaving the world. You live in eternity while participating in the moment. This is why enlightened beings often seem peaceful, calm, unhurried. They are not trapped in psychological time. They are rooted in the timeless, and from that rootedness comes clarity, compassion, and ease. Coming home to now. All spiritual teaching points to this. not a doctrine, not a belief system, not a practice, a return, a homecoming to the present, to this breath, to this sensation, to this awareness, not because the present is a technique, but because the present is the only real home you've ever had. Everything else is wandering. The present is home, and you have always belonged here. Part 15, The Quiet Power of Letting Be, the End of Striving, and the Deep Relaxation at the Heart of Alan Watts' Teachings. If you listen closely to your own life, not to its noise, not to its ambitions, but to its deeper movement, you may notice something astonishing. Life does not need your effort to unfold. It never has. Your heart beats without permission. Your breath flows without instruction. Wounds heal without strategy. Dreams arise without effort. Life is doing itself through you. And yet, we spent so much time trying to push the river, trying to force outcomes, trying to make things happen, trying to improve, trying to perfect, trying to transform ourselves into a version we imagine will finally be acceptable. Alan Watts would smile at this frenzy, this endless exertion, and say something soft yet revolutionary. Stop trying to improve yourself. You can't. You are already it. Because the truth is simple. You cannot become what you already are. The end of the self-perfection project. Most humans live with an unspoken belief. I am not enough as I am. So we chase self-improvement. We chase better habits, better thoughts, better emotions, better versions of ourselves. But Watts exposes the paradox. The belief that you need improvement is the very thing blocking your growth. Because the moment you judge yourself as insufficient, your inner world tightens. Your breath shortens. Your awareness narrows. Your creativity collapses. Your joy dims. The energy you use to become better is the energy that keeps you feeling incomplete. It's like trying to lift yourself by your own shoelaces. Impossible. The moment you stop striving to be anything more than what you are right now, a natural unfolding begins. A growth not forced but organic. A transformation not manufactured but effortless. You become not a better self, but your actual self, the one beneath the pressure and performance. Letting be, not letting go. People often confuse letting go with letting be. Letting go sounds like a task, a technique, a decision, a subtle form of self-control. Letting be is different. Letting be is the end of manipulation. It is allowing. Allowing the breath to be. Allowing emotions to be. Allowing thoughts to be. Allowing people to be. Allowing the moment to be. Allowing yourself to be. Letting be is profound because it requires nothing. No effort, no strategy, no goal. Only recognition. Recognition that life moves whether you push or not. Recognition that existence is already complete. Recognition that your only task, if you even have a task, is to allow yourself to participate in the flow, not as the controller, as the witness, as the dancer who follows the music, not your own choreography. Why relaxation is a spiritual act. Watts used to say, the more we try to control the mind, the more the mind controls us. Have you noticed how much tension you carry around simply being alive? the subtle clenching behind the eyes, the tightness in the shoulders, the gripping in the belly, the constant psychological bracing, as if existence is something dangerous you must prepare for. But this bracing is the source of so much suffering. Relaxation is not laziness. It is intelligence. It is clarity. It is the recognition that you are not in danger. Relaxation is the natural state of a mind that sees reality clearly. It does not mean you stop moving. It means you stop resisting. It does not mean you stop living. It means you stop struggling against life. Relaxation is spiritual because it aligns you with the truth. Nothing needs forcing. Nothing needs fixing. Nothing needs perfecting. Life is already happening without strain. You return to that rhythm when you relax. You are not driving the car. You are the road. When people talk about taking control of their life, Watts gently invited them to look deeper. Who is the I that believes it is in control? Where is it located? What is it made of? Can it be found? If you look honestly, you discover something surprising. Your decisions, your thoughts, your preferences, your desires, all arise spontaneously. You don't choose your thoughts. Thoughts appear, emotions appear, impulses appear, awareness notices. Watts compares it to a car driving itself, while the ego sits in the passenger seat, holding a steering wheel that isn't attached. You think you're steering, but you're not. Life is steering. Life is moving. Life is driving. And you are the road on which life travels, not the driver, the path, not the doer, the happening, not the controller, the flow. Once you see this, a strange comfort appears. The pressure lifts, the anxiety softens, the sense of burden evaporates, because you realize you were never meant to control the journey, only to experience it. The natural intelligence of life. Watts believed that life is not random. It is intelligent, not in a rational, mechanical way, but in a deep, organic way. Consider, you did not grow yourself from a fertilized cell. You did not design your own heart. You did not engineer your nervous system. You did not manage your own immune response. Life did all of that, and it continues to do so. Life knows how to unfold. Life knows how to heal. Life knows how to transform. Your job is not to take control of this process. Your job is to stop interfering with it, to trust the intelligence that brought you here in the first place, the intelligence that shapes galaxies, moves tides, and opens flowers in spring, the same intelligence that beats your heart right now. Letting be is trusting this intelligence, trusting that life knows what it's doing. When you stop trying to be yourself, you become yourself. Here is one of Watson's most liberating paradoxes. The harder you try to be yourself, the less you are yourself, because the self you are trying to be is an idea, a concept, a mask. Real authenticity emerges only when effort falls away, when you stop rehearsing, stop performing, stop trying to manage how you appear. Authenticity is not created, it is revealed. It appears when you stop pretending and simply allow what is genuine to move through you. Like a dancer who stops counting steps and begins to move with pure feeling. Like a child who laughs spontaneously without self-consciousness. Like a singer who loses themselves in the song. You become yourself only when you stop trying to be yourself. The stillness at the heart of everything. If you let all effort fall away, all striving, all clinging, all inner commentary, you may sense a kind of stillness. Not the absence of movement, but a stillness beneath movement. Not the absence of sound, but a silence beneath sound. Not the absence of emotion, but a spaciousness beneath emotion. This stillness is your true nature. It has been here your entire life, quiet, patient, unbothered by everything the mind worries about. This stillness is not something you create. It is what remains when the noise settles. It is the sky behind all weather, the ocean beneath all waves, the awareness beneath all thoughts. To rest in this stillness is to come home to yourself. The deepest message of Alan Watts. If we were to gather all of his ideas into a single, simple truth, it would be this: life lives itself. You are life. There is nothing wrong with you. Relax and let life happen. Not because life is easy, but because resistance is optional. Not because life is perfect, but because perfection is not required. Not because you have all the answers, but because answers were never the point. The point is to be here, to feel, to breathe, to witness, to participate, to embrace the flow as it moves, to trust life as yourself. Part 16, the dance of identity, the transparency of the self, and the awakening to who you truly are. If you pause right now and look inward, not with judgment, not with analysis, but with simple curiosity, you may notice something subtle. Your sense of I is constantly shifting. Sometimes you feel like a child, sometimes an adult, sometimes a thinker, sometimes a dreamer, sometimes fragile, sometimes strong. The I you defend is not a fixed thing. It is liquid, fluid, ever-changing. Alan Watts believed that the self is not an object, not a solid entity, not a permanent identity. The self is a process, a movement, a pattern, a dance. He would say, you are a flowing pattern in the stream of the universe, not separate from the stream, not pushing against the stream, but the stream itself taking temporary shape. Once you see this, life becomes lighter, less serious, more alive, because you no longer cling to a rigid idea of who you must be. You finally allow yourself to flow. The fluid self, and why fixed identities create suffering. We suffer because we try to be someone. We try to live up to labels: strong, successful, independent, pleasant, spiritual, logical, patient. But labels are cages. They limit what you can become. If you believe you are strong, you fear vulnerability. If you believe you are weak, you fear challenge. If you believe you are spiritual, you fear being ordinary. If you believe you are ordinary, you fear transcendence. Identity becomes a prison of expectations. Watts invites us to dissolve this prison. Don't be someone, be something. Be a process, be alive. Let yourself change. Let yourself contradict yesterday. Let yourself surprise tomorrow. There is no law that says you must remain who you once were. The river never flows the same way twice. Why should you? The false center, the ego, as an invention. Watts often described the ego as a center point that doesn't actually exist. Imagine drawing a whirlpool on a piece of paper. The center looks real, but if you reach out to touch it, there is nothing there. It is a shape created by movement. The ego is the same. It feels real, it feels solid, it feels like a me inside your head. But when you look for it, truly look, you cannot find it. You find thoughts, you find feelings, you find memories, you find bodily sensations. But there is no self separate from the experience. Just as a whirlpool is water moving in a pattern, the ego is awareness moving in a pattern. Not a thing, a motion, not an entity, an activity. The moment you see this, fear begins to dissolve. Because who is there to fear? Who is there to defend? Who is there to protect? The self was never a solid thing. It was always a dance. The mirror of I am before the story begins. Before you say, I am anxious, I am tired, I am lonely, I am misunderstood, I am not enough, there is simply, I am. The pure being before the adjectives. The spacious awareness before the description. The open presence before the narrative. Watts would often pause and invite listeners to feel this simplicity. I am. Nothing added, nothing removed, nothing defined. This is the real self. Open, undefined, infinite, silent, alive. But the mind cannot tolerate such simplicity. It rushes in with stories, with judgments, with identities, with roles. Not out of malice, but out of habit. But the deeper awareness remains untouched. The space in which all stories appear. The light behind the thoughts. The awareness that does not come and go. The freedom of not needing to know who you are. The world pressures you to define yourself. What kind of person are you? What are your strengths? Where do you belong? What is your purpose? But Watts invites a radical freedom. Do not define yourself. Stay open. Stay undefined. Stay possible. Because the moment you define yourself, you limit yourself. You become fixed, predictable, narrow. But life is unpredictable, expansive, dynamic. Why shouldn't you be the same? The freedom of not knowing who you are is the freedom to become anything. To shapeshift as needed, to evolve with each moment, to remain alive instead of fossilized in identity. The enormous relief of being nobody. Watts loved to joke that the greatest spiritual discovery is realizing you are nobody special. Not insignificant, not worthless, just nobody. Pure being without the burden of a constructed self. Because the moment you stop trying to be somebody, you relax, you breathe, you smile, you stop performing. You can exist as you are, simple, open, unfixed, free, a character in a play, a wave in the ocean, a moment of consciousness taking temporary shape. To be nobody is not a loss, it is freedom. The self as the universe looking at itself. Watts said something astonishing, something simple and profound. You are an aperture through which the universe is looking at itself. You are not a separate being in a foreign world. You are the world experiencing itself from one particular point of view. Just as the ocean forms thousands of waves without any wave being separate from the water, the universe forms billions of beings without any being separate from the whole. Your thoughts are not yours alone. They are the universe thinking in your shape. Your emotions are not personal. They are the universe feeling through your form. Your life is not your possession. It is the universe flowing as you. This realization is not philosophical. It is visceral. It dissolves loneliness. It dissolves fear. It dissolves isolation. Because there is no you separate from everything else. There is only the one expressing itself as the many. The full circle and the return to stillness. When you see the self as a process, a movement, a dance of awareness, something profound happens. You stop clinging. You stop defending. You stop pretending. You stop striving. You drop the heavy weight you didn't know you were carrying, the weight of being someone. And what remains? Stillness, simplicity, presence. A gentle beingness that does not require effort or identity. The true self is the quiet space behind the story, the silence beneath the thoughts, the awareness in which everything appears and disappears. Nothing more, nothing less, and it has been here all along. Part 17. The return to wholeness, the final unraveling, and the quiet homecoming to your true nature. Take one slow breath, in and out. Not because you must, but because breath is the simplest reminder of what Alan Watts spent a lifetime revealing. Life is happening effortlessly, and you are that happening. There is no separation between you and the moment, no boundary between observer and observed, no gap between seeker and sought. By now, after all the reflections, the metaphors, the paradoxes, the dances of thought, something inside you may already feel lighter, not because you learned something new, but because you remembered something ancient. Something so simple it hides in plain sight. Something so obvious you've always overlooked it. You are life, not a fragment of it, not a visitor in it, not a separate observer of it. Life itself. You are the breath, and the one who feels the breath. You are the moment, and the one who perceives the moment. You are the consciousness behind the eyes, and the world those eyes look upon. There is no distance. You were never outside. You have always been home. The end of the spiritual search. Watts often said that spiritual searching is like looking for your own head. You search everywhere, in teachings, in books, in meditation, in silence, in philosophy. You ask questions. Who am I? What is the truth? What is the meaning of life? What lies beyond death? But the seeker is the sought. The searcher is the answer. You cannot find what you already are. You cannot arrive where you never left. You cannot attain what has always been present. The spiritual path ends where it began, in the simple awareness of being. This moment, this ordinary, unadorned moment, is the enlightenment you've been looking for. Not because it is dramatic, but because it is real. Because it is here. Because it is the only place anything has ever happened. The great release. Nothing left to hold. Look inside yourself right now. Notice how much tension comes from the simple act of holding on to beliefs, to ideals, to identities, to the past, to the future, to control, to the idea of who you must be. But holding on is exhausting and unnecessary, because there is nothing to hold. Life cannot be gripped. It can only be lived. This is why Watts encouraged a gentle form of surrender, not giving up, not submission, not passivity, but softening, letting the moment be what it already is, letting yourself be who you already are, letting life be life. And in that letting, you discover relief, a profound relaxation, a quiet joy, a peace that was never missing, only covered by the effort to be someone, covered by the tension of trying to control what was never in your control, covered by the illusion that you must earn your right to exist, But existence needs no justification. You are here, and that is enough. The beauty of the ordinary world. People often think awakening is dramatic, a lightning bolt, a revelation, a mystical transformation. Watts assures us, awakening is falling in love with the ordinary. A cup of water, a breeze on your arm, the weight of your body on the chair, the soft hum of distant traffic, a stranger's laugh, your own breath. These are not distractions from the spiritual path. They are the path. They are the miracle. They are the miracle. They are consciousness experiencing itself through the simplicity of being alive. There is nothing more spiritual than presence. There is nothing more divine than awareness. There is nothing more profound than the ordinary moment fully experienced. The self dissolves into the whole. As this journey reaches its end, one truth stands quietly alone, like a mountain at sunset. You are not in the universe. You are the universe, disguised as a person, playing a role, wearing a temporary face, living a temporary life. But beneath the mask is everything, not metaphorically, literally. The atoms in your blood were forged in the core of exploding stars. The consciousness behind your eyes is the same consciousness that shines from every living being. The breath in your lungs is the same air moved by forests, storms, and oceans. The life inside you is not separate from the life around you. The wave is not separate from the ocean. You are not separate from anything. The soft closing of the circle. And so, like all things, this story comes to its natural end. Not a final end, because there are no final ends. Just transitions, transformations, new waves forming in the boundless sea of awareness. But this chapter, this narrative journey, this exploration through the philosophies of Alan Watts, arrives now at its quiet, inevitable conclusion. Everything he ever taught points back to this. Relax. You are the world, and the world is you. There is nothing to fear, nothing to chase, nothing to become. Just be. Let life happen. Let awareness shine. Let the moment unfold. And trust, deeply, fully, with your entire being, that you belong in this universe because you are this universe. The dance of existence continues through you. The tide of consciousness flows as you. The mystery of life awakens in you. And in this moment, you are complete. Exactly as you are, exactly where you are, exactly who you are. Now, rest, breathe, be. The journey is over, and the journey has only begun.